right, guys, we're back for another episode. I know, right? You're so proud of me, right? I haven't skipped the whole year. I did that last year. My bad. And honestly, it's not my own doing. I've got a wonderful group of volunteers and team people who kind of keep me organized, let's say. And it's just so nice to be able to talk to wonderful, wonderful people every couple of weekends. With me today, I have somebody very special in our tiny little pod of a podcast recording studio that I got. Would you like to introduce yourself?
Well, thank you so much, first of all, for having me in today. And so my name is Alaa. I am a legal counsel and a holistic counselor as well, which is was never been like a career path for me. And that's why people find it a bit surprising. But that shifting for me happened out of experience that I lived through. And the holistic healing became one of the most essential element I can say in my life now, and it's something that I really feel the need to podcast more and to share more awareness about.
Nice.
And yeah,
That's amazing. I always find it interesting when people have like these very, 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 kind of enlightening experiences that create pivots in their life. Even, with mental health AE, we were talking just before we were recording the podcast. I was telling you about how we started. And, my background has nothing to do with mental health or wellness or anything in the medical field, even. I'm business and strategy and innovation. And a lot of what I do is advisory and consulting. So, but this has been truly for me, mental health AE has been 100% passion driven. And this is something my mom taught me a long time ago, that you want to build a life that is following, passion, purpose, path. If you're doing that, you're in alignment. And that's kind of why, we're here. And I loved hearing your story a little bit also about, where you started. Would you like to share a little bit with the audience of what you were doing and what created that pivot?
yeah, sure. So what happened, Ed, like when I landed here in the UAE in 2017, so my body like shut down, hormone imbalance. I lost my period, and like for me, there was nothing ever to do but to seek a medical support. That what was my understanding back then. So I went to doctors, like I ran like 100 of tests and MRI scanning, and then the doctor would come to say, I really don't understand how a woman have a zero hormones in their body. And still, like medically, there is no explanation. But hello, we have a treatment for you. So the treatment is that you need to be on a hormone injection so that you can be having your period back. So I lived 7 years in my life just taking medication. So my body can act normally. I believe that my body was acting normally. And in 2022, I had collapse personally, professionally, and that was the first time from my life to get to know that there is something called therapy or mental health support.
Mm-hmm.
And still like behind that there was a shame also inside me, like I am okay, like I'm okay, so why should I actually seek a mental health support? And then I remember the first time I went to the therapy. So I was just explaining to her, I went through divorce and I went through like professional, like everything is now just collapsing. And above that, I am physically ill and I don't really understand why I am physically ill. And I was just like talking to her about like what I've been through, how was my childhood, why I was not happy, why I'm always like in the pattern of like surviving. And then she stopped me. She said, Alaa, you know what? I believe your physical ill is not that physical.
Mm-hmm.
I believe your physical ill has something to do with your mind. And so has something to do with the body.
That's amazing. I mean, I've been talking about this for a very long time. And the concept of, mind-body connection is phenomenal. It's been there forever. And then I don't know at what point of our history we just decided to lose that concept. I remember talking to a family friend of mine. This was back when I was in high school, and I shared this story with you. And he was always into this like yoga meditation and I don't know, art of life and art of I don't know what type of stuff. And I was sitting with him. His name is Ramu. I'm like, Ramu, uncle, I don't get this. And the guy is so zen, mashallah. So he sat me down. He goes, look, I'll tell you one example. And remember, I'm like maybe 15, 16 at the time. He goes, when you're angry, your breathing gets heavy. Like, I'm like, yeah. He's like, why? Were you running? I'm like, no. You're just sitting there getting angry and your breathing changed. I'm like, yes. He goes, it's connected in the other direction also. If you learn to control your breathing, it helps you control your mind. And I was like, whoa, that's deep. And that kind of stayed with me. I didn't understand it fully, of course.
Yeah.
But it stayed with me. And over the years, I would actively catch myself either adjusting the physical or adjusting the mental to adjust the other. Like I would have weeks where I'd have this heavy brain fog. I'm like, man, why can't I think straight? Why am I struggling to like focus? Like what's going on? And then suddenly I'd be like, man, you've been having so much soda and processed sugar. Is that messing with your head? And again, not from the field. So I don't even know how the biology or the chemistry works, right?
Yeah.
And I would be like, okay, you know what? Let me just cut out processed sugars for 2 weeks and see what happens. All of a sudden, laser focus comes back. So I've always realized that there was some connection. But, once I started Mental Health AE and I started talking to people, and then even in my own coaching practice, and I mentioned to you that vast majority of my clients are ADHD, the first thing I'll tell them is go get a blood test. They're like, why? I'm like, look, if your mineral levels or whatever levels, your iron levels are messed up, it's going to impact your brain directly. I can't, fix a tiny hole in a ship when half of the ship is busted. We have to fix everything.
Yes.
So it was very kind of refreshing to hear from you about the mind-body connection. Can you elaborate more on that for me?
So what happens is, and we also need to add to the body mind the emotional part, So what happens is that when you are carrying heavy emotions, you are under a chronic stress. Is not because like everyone has a stress in their life, but when the stress is becoming like your own pattern, this is your daily life, you are under the stress. And then this emotion that you have maybe from childhood trauma, maybe you have it from overwhelming situation, then the emotion, if it's not processed first, if it's not acknowledged and understood and released, it became in your body.
Yeah.
So the body will see the mind is trying to escape from something. The body will see like, the mind is giving him signals. Listen, we are under stress. Why? Because actually this person in a chronic stress or in a very, very heavy emotion that is still unprocessed. So the body will receive this signal from the mind and say, this lady, she's not in the safe zone.
Yeah.
She's not in a safe zone. No matter how she's trying to fool herself, by laughing, doing activities, like it doesn't matter. What matters to the body is actually what he receives from the subconscious as considered as a threat. When the body receives the signal very clear that you are under threat, like they have two bottom, the body. Like one called the survival, the other one called the safe zone. So the body will switch off the safe zone and will switch on the survival. What is under the survival is anything related to heart rate, blood flow, breathing, like we're good to go. How about like the hormone, the cycle, reproduction, nourishing, digesting, immune system? Hello, please pause, because we are so much focused, very focused to keep this lady alive.
Yeah.
And maybe there is no danger. And actually not maybe, it's always there is no danger. But how you carry from emotion and thoughts that make the body believe that you are in a true danger and threat. This is what matters. So When the body received that, he act on it. He tried to protect you. And this is one of the very major things that I found later on, because like I used to treat my body as shame on you. You want me on hell. That's what I also believed about my body before. Like I really don't understand why you are dealing, like why you are ill. I really don't understand. You are trying to make me sick. You don't understand me. But the body was just trying to protect you from the thing that you were just like avoiding and disregarding. And he's the most, let's say, honest signal always about what's actually going on. So when you shift your perspective about my body is not now, it's not my enemy. It's just my indicators. When you try to see the body this way, you honor it. You try to talk to him like, okay, you are in survival. You are in the survival. How can I take you to the safe zone? What is missing? Okay, talk to me about what the emotion that you carry. What the trauma that you have. What is the inner critic that has been like, evolved from your childhood is trying to make me do wrong to you. These all the things. And then the body answers. And the body reacts. And the body, when they feel safe and the person is very, very true and want to keep us safe, the body will be like a miracle to you. Will heal, will be okay, will be like everything will just like serve you very, very well. More than you even imagine. The body has incredible, like that's my experience, really has incredible power to make you or to serve you in a very healthy manner. It's this way.
Well, I hear you 100%. I agree with you wholeheartedly. This is exactly the type of stuff I've always talked about with, well, everybody, not just like my clients or my coachees, but even my friends. I'm like, guys, your body is trying to talk to you, and if something is off, you need to ask why, and not play the blame game of why can't you just do that? And everybody else is like, well, this is not everybody else. This is you. And if your body is telling you stuff, you need to listen. And then once you listen, that's only when you can get to the other side of understanding cause and effect, right? It's not about understanding the simplicity of, again, I'm oversimplifying, guys, Western medicine, where they don't treat the problem, they treat the symptoms.
Yes.
So even when you're sick, you get the flu, they don't give you something for the flu. They give you something for the pain. They give you something for the headache. They give you something for all the symptoms, while
the root cause is still the...
Yes, and your body is the thing that's doing the healing.
Yeah.
So if we can shift the body from that survival modality, it's a very good self-sustaining healing system.
Yeah.
So I think I'm mirroring 100% of what you're saying. I agree with you wholeheartedly on that.
You know the thing that it takes time, but it's worth it.
Yes.
I know that the medication is a very fast and quick, very, very fast and quick.
But it only fixes the small thing.
It's so true.
It's just the small piece.
And the more that you fix it, you'll find another problem. Because guess what? The root cause, if it's still unsolved, it will remain always bringing a lot of other troubles.
This is I always use the example of a rock in a shoe. So if you're walking around and you have a rock in your shoe, you can take a painkiller so you don't feel the pain from the rock in the shoe. And the shoe, now the rock causes a blister, you put a bandage on it. But until you remove the rock, the problem will never, ever, ever go away. It will only continually create more problems and more symptoms, and you will have more treatment. And then the only one who is happy is the pharmaceutical companies selling you the medication and the treatments. You mentioned something, and I want to dig a little bit more, and I want to circle back to what you're doing in your practice. You mentioned there's a connection, not just mind and body, but there's a connection with your mind to trauma, like, for example, childhood trauma. And we talk about child wound, mother wound, father wound. Elaborate a little bit more on this for me.
So, for example, what is the trauma is, especially the childhood trauma.
Yeah.
The trauma is not the event. The trauma is the wound or the feeling that you carry from a specific event. Okay? So this feeling is, you have it, you carry it, although that the event itself is no longer there. So it became a wound. The wound, if it's not acknowledged, processed, it's scored. So the body will say, okay, there is a wound this person is having, and he doesn't differentiate. Is actually the event still there or no? What he cares, the wound is still there. And anything around will just trigger this wound to be opened because it's never been processed.
Yeah. Yeah.
So the trauma, when the people get older, the emotion of the trauma is still there. And that was my case, for example. Like, yes, I am out of my family. I no longer live with them, but the emotion that I carry out of a very traumatized event that I've been, that was still with me, that still was in my body. And when it is in the body, and you have a pattern, because also people, they adapt a pattern to protect themselves. So what if the pattern is just like to avoid and to neglect, because it's very heavy, and especially the childhood trauma, why it's very heavy? Because it's very raw. Like the child doesn't understand what is truth, what's not. If you come to me and say, Alaa, you look ugly, why you're so fat? I would say like, what is this person talking about? Is he okay?
Yeah.
I feel pity for him.
Yeah.
But if I am the same person, like 17 or like as a child, and someone telling me, you are ugly, you look so fat, it's a reality.
Yeah.
So, and this reality carry emotion. So, emotion of being not loved, emotion of like being unworthy. This is the heavy emotion. You have it when you grow old. And because it was one day reality, you never question it.
Yeah. It's the truth that you believed.
You're a child. You don't know anything. You don't know what is a love is. You don't know how a healthy relation is. You don't know if you were abandoned. You don't know anything. You just have an emotion. You have feeling. You have need. If it's not met, then it becomes like a traumatic event. So for me, I feel there is a huge link between the childhood trauma and the chronic disease and stress that the person will live if this traumatized event was not, or the emotion that they carry was not processed.
Wow. You're right. You are so right. I remember somebody explained it to me once. They're like, if you have a cut and you put a little bandage on it, and then you remove the bandage and you can still see the little blood, the scab. If you keep removing it, the wound never heals. And imagine if you've had that since you're a child. And imagine that you've had that since you were a child and you were told that this scar is you. You're never supposed to heal this scar because healing would imply that the scar is incorrect. And that's kind of how it gets burned in your head. And you grow up thinking that that is my truth. And you're 100% what you said on your example, that when you're older, you'd be like, bro, what's wrong with you? Get out of my face. Like, And we do see a lot of people disconnecting from the source of trauma when they're older. They'll disconnect from their families. They'll distance themselves from all of that. But the damage is so deep and carries for so long. One example out of so many I could give you is a lot of people who have, suffered through childhood trauma may not even realize it, by the way. They will reflect in their relationships, the type of people that they get attached to, that it's very toxic,
100%.
Very toxic. And as you said, until that, and I love how you phrased it, until the emotion related with the trauma is not acknowledged and addressed and processed, you really don't even start the healing. And then not only is it manifesting, obviously, that emotion in your brain, but that manifestation carries into your body.
Yes.
And then you're just sitting there wondering, what's wrong with me? And now you're so lost in the pool of symptoms and the issues related to it that you don't even think about peeling back the layers and finding the origin, the reason.
Yes.
What can somebody do about all of this stuff? All of a sudden, there's a lot of things on the table now. This is. I remember. I'm not sure if this strategy works. I remember when I was young, and my room was a mess, and my mom would be like, "Go clean it," and I'd stand in the middle of my room like, "Mama, there's mess everywhere. I don't know where to start." And her answer was always so logical. She goes, "Start anywhere.
Yeah.
A mess is a mess. Start anywhere." But where do you unpack? Like, now you're an adult. You're experiencing all of these imbalances and this flood of symptoms that you're just trying to survive while your body is trying to survive. How do you even begin to get to the other side?
So if we will put it like in a relation and in health, we will divide. But the thing is, you will acknowledge there is an issue that I have.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
This is the first thing.
Acknowledgement. Okay.
I do have an issue. Physical issue, mental issue, relationship issues. So this is a very powering, Yes, I do have a problem. How can I help? How can I help me to solve the problem that I have? So this is, I think it's the very, very a must, something that you need to start with. The second thing, how can I raise awareness about what actually I am having? How can I say that, okay, I do have a problem, okay? What other people are saying to make me raise awareness about the issue that I have? The third one, I think it's very important during this journey to have acceptance and compassion. And this is something that I feel a lot of people, including myself, used to struggle a lot. Because this acceptance is not easy, it's not easy to say like, I was broken, I was wrong, like I did a horrible things in my life out of the issue that I was carrying and I was having. And show also compassion that it was very okay, that my body was very okay to do that, that it's very okay not to understand everything, but I am very open to know. And I'm very open and I'm very patient with myself to get me to where I really want to reach to. The thing is, people will say that awareness is the end of the journey. It's the other way around. Awareness, just like you are starting. And there is no end of the journey. It is just like you are starting with awareness and you are building healing through the time till you get to reach to somewhere that I am okay. I feel I am okay. Mentally, physically, emotionally, I feel I am okay. And I am open, if I am not that much okay, to question myself. And I'm open to reflect.
I like that. And it makes sense. And I think the biggest hurdle that we have is, that self-acceptance. How do you fix a problem that you're not willing to acknowledge? Right? I think that's definitely a major component. And, I don't want to sound, and I want to be very clear about this, I don't want to sound like I'm blaming. I think if there's anyone to blame, it's society and family. The reason I still have this podcast after all of these years is because we still have stigma. We still have mountains of shame. We're taught that it should be something of embarrassment if you are anything less than perfect. This constant, something as simple as comparison. Why can't you be like this sibling? Why can't you be like the neighbor's kid? Why can't you be like this other kid in your school? This is like the worst shit to tell your kids. Man, for real. And I've had discussions with so many parents, and I've put them in their place. I'm very direct, to put it politely, and I don't have a filter. And especially when it comes to kids, if you're not doing right by children, I'm going to hit you like a wall, and I'll make you cry. You cannot accept the responsibility of being a parent and then screw it up. That's unacceptable to me. But at the same time, everybody are people. People are people, and nobody's perfect, and nobody's parents are perfect. And one of the things you realize when you grow up is that your parents aren't perfect. And I've had many discussions with my friends over the many years, and I've told them that, look, I can't fix your parents like you can't fix your parents. But what you can do, and this doesn't just apply to parents, this applies to every relationship you have in life. And the way I describe it, and I don't know if I read this or it just came to me, I call it functional distance. You need to establish what functional distance is. And that might be, how often you meet somebody, how much of your life you want them to be involved in. You have a kid. Do you just send them a text message, I had a kid? Or do you invite them over for a party to have a kid? Or do they get invited to the hospital when you're going to get the delivery? Like, you can decide what that distance is, where it's functional. Because first, it's your life. Not everybody should have open access. And what will the neighbors say, and what will society think? They're not living my life. I live my life. So first, don't even bring that discussion in. There's a lot. So even when we talk about acknowledging yourself, there's so much generational and societal shame that we're forced to carry. It's very heavy to kind of lift yourself outside of that, and then have to lift yourself outside of you to get to the acknowledgement, and then ask for help. And, that's where a lot of, messages that come to our platform and our website is just asking help. Hey, listen, and they feel it's a safe space. They're like, okay, these guys are talking about mental whatever. I guess they're okay. They'll be chill. They're not going to judge me. Yes, man. We are a judgment-free safe zone. And they'll ask, hey, I'm struggling with this and this and this. Can you recommend somebody? And honestly, that's like 80% of what we're doing now. We're actually in the process of building out a new platform literally for this purpose. So let's say now as an adult, you've crossed that barrier of realization, and you're like, okay, I recognize something is wrong. I recognize I need help. I recognize that I myself alone cannot fix whatever is going on. What's the next step? Where do they go? What do you do? And now I'm at that point of realization. Do I just ask ChatGPT, fix me? Like, what do I do? What's next?
I think next is to seek help. And it's something also very empowering when you understand that we need someone to take us to the right path. And it's very okay. And you don't have to figure it all, but you can seek help. You can ask someone, how can I get there safely? How can I create my safe environment? And it's how can I teach me how to talk to myself? Teach me how to self-reflect. Okay, Alaa, you talk about compassion to yourself. Teach me how. Because I will, you were telling me that the society, they put a lot, and the family, they put a lot on us, yeah? But guess what? You know what also add a lot to us? Our inner critic.
Oh, yes. The inner critic.
It's a human living in a human.
Yeah.
I swear. So disregard the society, what they think, what they believe. Disregard what the family think of you. See?
You still have you.
Yeah, you still have you. And you came from who? Came from the very young child.
Yes.
Who had to receive a lot of things which again considered as a reality.
That stick with you.
So that's why they say the inner critic is just how the parent actually used to think the child of you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
This is the inner critic. So if the parent used to see you in a certain way when you are a child, he create another form inside of you. So if this form was very harsh Ugh. And you are growing, and still this is inside you, and you don't understand how this is function. It's really, it's a voice. So no, me, I can understand. I am aware that I have to be kind myself. Did
Yeah.
Allah is 100% of the time kind to herself? Well, guess no. So that's where I'm saying, yes, awareness is a great thing. But there is a lot of, like, I think healing is when you get to know how to deal with the internal aspect of you.
Yeah.
How to healing is how to deal with your inner critic. How to deal with the protective part of you that he's trying sometimes to do like illogical things, but because he believed that this is the way that he protects, you know? So these kind of things, when you really get to know how to deal with yourself, I think you are in the healing phase. And I really think it's very important for someone, if they don't, because not everyone has a safe zone to talk, you know? I never had a safe zone to talk. I think you never had a safe zone. But later on, when you create that, okay, I am with this person, I have this safe zone. Whether it's therapy, whether it could be like, whether you're God.
Yes.
Because he was like, he still is also a safe zone to me. So when you create this, just like, okay, I feel I can be me. So it encourages you to be you also in different aspects, in different zones of your life.
I love this. What you said is 100% spot on and very relevant. You know that even when you're right, even when you get past all the externals, you still have yourself to deal with, and you are a summation of your life's experiences. And that trauma creates scars that you believe are part of your identity, and that becomes very difficult to move past. And you're right. Finding a safe zone, creating a safe zone, finding somebody who can hold space for you, these aren't easy things. These are not easy things. Just go talk to a friend. A lot of your friends are really good friends, but they're not someone you can have, conversation of that level.
They have their own issues also.
Exactly. I was about to say that they have their own struggles that they're dealing with. And for somebody to hold space for you, it's a big thing. And most people are not designed for it. Most people haven't gotten like the education or the training, whether from their parent, on how to do this for somebody. And no matter how good of a friend it is, even a spouse, by the way, not just a friend, even a spouse, or your significant other, if they don't know how, and even if they want to, they can't.
Yeah.
And this is I think a good point to actively think that, okay, why am I searching for somebody? If I have somebody accessible, great. If I don't have somebody, let me move on to talking to a professional. And this is where, there's mountains and mountains of therapists and counselors and all of those. That industry is huge.
Yeah.
They're all available. But you have to be brave to take that step. I mean, and as you mentioned, the first time that you were like, okay, I need to go speak to a therapist, that's a big step.
Yes.
And I tell everybody, I'm like, guys, it's so easy for me to say, but I recognize that it is so hard for everyone to do, is when I would say, hey, just talk to a therapist. Because me saying it and you opening your phone and searching and making a booking, maybe even this you do, but to get in your car and drive to the therapist, that's going to be one of the longest drives you have in your life.
Yeah.
Because every second you're second guessing yourself, like, I don't need this. I'll be okay. I'll just, I don't know. I'll start that keto diet. Like the dumbest things will come in your head to kind of avoid it. So that,
and again, because you want to protect you.
Exactly.
There is a protection system inside you. Say like, now you're gonna reveal the heavy emotion that you have.
Let's stay away.
Now you're gonna be true and like very like unfiltered, very naked with your emotion, and very like, facing who you truly are. it's very difficult for a person, like, no, it's not like 1 hour therapy. It's just like 1 hour of me in front of me, which I have been for years trying to avoid. This is what it is.
Yep. And and you said something very interesting, and this is also something I talk to people about. I'm like, it's not just like you're feeling like you're going to be naked in front of somebody. It's you're going to be naked and you're showing your flaws. Like, oh look, I got a wrinkle here. Look, I have a birthmark here. Look, my pinky toe is wonky. Like you're literally highlighting the flaws. Not just I'm naked, but look at all the flaws that I have.
Yes.
It's hard.
It's very hard.
It takes a lot of bravery, and a lot of people that I've spoken to over the years who've taken that step, and they've come back and told me, the first thing I tell them, I'm like, you are so brave, and I am so proud of you for being this brave. And no, even if nobody else recognizes it or says it, I'm gonna recognize it. I'm gonna say, because I know the bravery it needs. And over all of these years with working with people, I've seen it. So I think that's it's going to be tough, guys, but if this is what you need, then this is what you need. And at the end of the day, nobody lives your life. I'm cognizant of time. We're almost running out. Nobody lives your life. And for that very simple reason, nobody should have a say in your life in terms of what is valuable to you and what sort of journey of life and healing you should be on. So, and it's not selfish to take care of yourself first. Self-love is not selfish. Even though if you're told, oh, why are you being selfish? That's when I'm like, let me throw you out.
Again, and
throw you out the window.
Yeah.
There's no selfish. But it's hard. You even when you shut out, and I think today's conversation, I think what you wonderfully highlighted, that even if you shut out society and parents and the noise that they create, you're still stuck
You've
with
got you.
You've got you to deal with. And you are stubborn.
The hardest
You are
part.
stubborn, and you're hard to deal with.
Yeah.
Great. Alaa, this has been so wonderful talking to you. So before we wrap up, tell the audience where they can find you. I will have all the links wherever you're watching, but share a little bit about how they can find you and reach out to you.
So we have created now the Ta'afi Within. It's where we hold like a gathering, like once a month, for everyone who's just welcome to come in. He just like put his interest when we are like posting for the next gathering. And for the session that we are carrying 1-to-1, it's also in my website. It's in my social media. So everyone just like send me DM message. I will reply. I will try to help as much as I can.
Oh, that's absolutely wonderful. Thank you so much for taking the time to come talk to all of us today. Listeners, hopefully something resonated with you. I know it's hard. I recognize it's hard, and I want to make a point to say that I know that it's hard. But what you really need to do is you need to push yourself a little bit outside of that comfort cocoon of survival that you think is helping you, and recognize that it's not. And it's time to grow. It's time to flourish. You need to move from surviving to thriving. This is something I work with, all of my coachees on. We want to move from a life of survival to a life where you're thriving and flourishing and growing.
Yeah.
You can't get to growth until you come out of that hole that you've kind of like dug for yourself also. So be a little brave. Use this conversation as that little bit of initiative that you need to nudge yourself to pick up that phone, to make that appointment, to hop in your car, to go there. I promise you, it's worth so much more than you can ever imagine, because this is one of those few examples in life where the grass is greener on the other side. You just need to work to get there. Thank you, everybody, for listening. I will catch you on the next one. Alaa, thank you very much for being here.
Thank you, Ali. Thank you so much.